Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Colby. I'm the owner of Sierra Window Cleaning out of Auburn, California, and Super Clean Websites, where we build websites and do SEO for other cleaning businesses. I'm joined today by the owner of Glass Therapy in Clarksville, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. His name is Dave Scribani. Dave, thanks for making it to the podcast today.
Colby, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. We're here at the inaugural podcast, so I appreciate you coming along with me. We connected originally over Facebook in one of the many window cleaning groups on there. You're pretty present on there, pretty active. I liked that right off the bat. I know you've got a story that we've talked about to some extent already that is interesting, that I think is motivational. I know it is to me, but to other people as well. And so I appreciate you being willing to hop on, man. So if I may, let's just be really general. Who are you? Where are you? How long have you been in this business? Let's start there. I'd love to hear why you got into the business as well.
For sure, man. So, you already said, but my name's Dave Scribani. My family and I live about 50 miles northwest of Nashville. I'm in a city called Clarksville, Tennessee. And prior to even being in the window cleaning business, I was in the marketing world for a long time, worked for several marketing agencies. There was a period of time for a couple of years where I had my own. I learned an incredible amount in that world. And I had a great time working for other agencies. I had a good time owning my own business, but there was just this void. I just was not really pleased or fulfilled in the work that I was doing. And I think the biggest thing for me was sitting at a desk. I got stuck in this spot after COVID where I thought working from home was the dream. Like, you don't have to go anywhere. You can get out of bed. Your alarm goes off. You go right to your desk. And it was just this very, at least for me, lazy mindset that bred more laziness and really unhappiness. And, I started Glass Therapy in May of 2024. And since then, it's exploded in an amazing way. It's been a huge blessing for me and my family. And I would honestly say it's the first time I've ever really, really loved what I do.
Right on, man. Yeah, I think I had somewhat of a similar experience. I think many people did, where the idea of working from home, once remote work got so much more popular, it was kind of like the dream to kind of try to attain. And I did that through learning how to code and ultimately building websites. But it feels like there's this, I don't know if the grass is truly always greener. I've heard most recently that the grass is green where you water it, which
Mm.
I think, might be a little fruity, but has something to it for sure. But yeah, there's definitely this knee-jerk reaction, I think, of a lot of people of like, hey, I've been in blue collar business for so long, whatever it may be, whether it's trades or owning a business like this. Like, how great would it be to be able to sit down at a desk all day and make the same amount of money or more and work from home? But I think many people do have like that grass is always greener mentality, where it's like it's different when it's actually lived out. I think it's a unique perspective to come from, being like in a more white collar occupation and then going back into blue collar. But I think it's going to become increasingly
Mm.
popular over time. So, yeah. Why window cleaning? Like, why didn't you go to electrician school or become a plumber, or why'd you pick up a squeegee?
Now, this is the craziest part of my story. I'll be honest, in April of 2024, I mean, I was pretty unhappy every single day. I dreaded Mondays. I lived for Fridays, loved Saturdays, but then Sunday rolled around and I was already dreading the week ahead. And that's just no way to live. I mean, and I was trying to rack my brain around for months. What do I do? What do I like doing? What am I good at? And um, in April of 2024, I had a dream that I had this massive window cleaning company. And for full context, I had never cleaned a window in my entire life when I had this dream. So this wasn't something that was like brewing in me or something that I was practicing or researching or anything like that. I had seen, a lot of young 18, 19-year-old kids, reels on Instagram of guys starting window cleaning businesses, pressure washing businesses. Over the last couple of years, the home service industry, I think, has really exploded. But I had this dream, and it was a big company that I owned. My son was in that dream with me. He's only 10 years old right now, but he was grown and older, and him and I were both just running this big window cleaning company. And I was woken up from that dream by my alarm to go to the gym. I had just started going to the gym too. That was another like big thing. I was a month into just making the mental decision to say, I'm not going to be lazy. I know I'm unhappy, but I'm at least going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to change the way I eat. I'm going to exercise. And a month into that, I have this dream. And I go to the gym that morning. I meet up with two good buddies of mine every morning to work out and to tell them about this dream. And one of my friends that I had work out with, he used to own a pressure washing company, and he was like, "Man, you should do it. You got to do this. Like, it's a great business to be in. It'll probably explode." And now my mind's really turning. Like, oh man, maybe there's something to this. Start driving home, and my immediate thought was, how do I tell my wife that I potentially want to shut down my marketing agency, which is bringing in about six figures for me a year to wash windows? Not knowing, like, I don't know how this conversation is going to go. She's probably just going to shut it down. Like, no way, you're not going out and cleaning windows. But, I'm a man of faith. And on my way home, I just prayed. I said, God, if this was from you, when I tell my wife about this dream, I just want her to say, you should do it. And if she is not for it at all, I'll just say it was a dream. Like, I'm not going to do anything about it. And got home, told my wife Ashley about this dream, and after I laid out all the details of it, her only response was literally, "You should do it." And that was it. So I go into my office, which was in our house, and I'm sitting down, and everyone knows, like, when you're unhappy in your work and you get a new idea, going to the job that you like hate even more at that point.
Yeah.
Cause now you're like, I'm on fire for something else. I'm already out. So that same day I quit everything. I shut it all down. Same day. Took a massive risk. We were not in a spot financially where that was probably a wise decision to make. I think if anyone saw my bank account, they'd be like, you should pump the brakes and like at least practice, maybe clean three windows first. Then let's make sure you can do this. And but I was all about it. I shut it down. An hour later, Ashley comes into my office with this logo and this name. And she's incredibly creative, very artistic. And she came in with this idea, and she had glass. This was literally what it was, like, first rendition, glass therapy Clarksville. And I said, that's brilliant, and made sure that no one else had that. And no one else did. Went online, bought the domain right away. I started building my own website right away. I emailed all of my clients and said, hey, good luck. Like, go find somebody else. I'm all done in this industry. And ordered some shirts, and I started out door knocking. That's literally how I started. And I just grinded it out, and I was determined. And my very first day door knocking, I literally made $900.
Sweet.
Yep.
Nice, man. Yeah. Wow. That's not bad. Did you do all the delivery that day? Like, did you clean those windows on that day?
Same day.
Cool. Cool,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I will say I think in that first day was a right place, right time, got to the right houses, and people were just saying yes. And I was totally guessing on how to price. Like, the first one I for sure overcharged, like, substantially, but they said yes. So, but I mean, it's been an amazing experience ever since. I got on YouTube right away. I just started learning, and that's what it's all about, is just taking the initiative to dig in and study and learn the craft, whatever it is that you want to do. Find people that know what they're doing, that are smarter than you and ahead of you, ask them really good questions, pay them for their time, and just grind.
Sweet. So how long ago was this? Your first day of door knocking?
May 1st of 2024.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, man. And I mean, Glass Therapy Clarksville LLC right now on Google is sitting at about 120 5-star Google reviews. Not about. That's right where you're at. That's
Yeah.
awesome for a year, man. Do you have any kind of methodologies? Are you just asking all of your clients to leave a review? Do you have any automated follow up for that, or like what's your process there? Other than providing an excellent service, let's just assume that that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, systems and processes are huge, right? And I will say one of the reasons why I think glass therapy has grown the way it has is my marketing background. And not a lot of people have that kind of knowledge on how to scale a business. A lot of times people have great ideas and they start a business and they're really, really good at their craft, but the marketing of a business is a totally different ballgame. And sometimes people have to hire that out. So when it comes to reviews, automation is key. So right away, I got right into a CRM. So I think within the first like 72 hours, I had a CRM that I was building out. I started out with Go High Level just because I was the most familiar with it. It's what I used with my clients that I had for marketing. And I started building out automation so that when a job gets scheduled, the customer gets texted letting them know the job details, what's going to happen, the date and time that we arrive, right? They get a text when I was on my way. And when a job was finished and paid, they'd get another text asking for a review. One of the things that I did early on was when we finished a job, I would just ask right there, hey, would you mind really quick before we leave? I got like two more windows that we have to do, but before I go, would you mind just leaving us a Google review? And early on, that built traction very, very quickly when you ask somebody in person. But I've also found amazing success with just auto follow up. So those automations will get texted out right when a job is finished. They get an email asking for them to do a review as well. If they don't leave one, I think it's like 72 hours later, our system sends it again. And I think a total of 4 or 5 times over the course of like 2 weeks, they'll get asked to leave a review. But one of the things that I think has really been a game changer is I'm not in the field anymore doing the window cleaning, but I want to stay as connected to our customers as possible. So I'm the one doing the estimates and I'm the one scheduling the jobs. But when a job is completed, the following day, I am always calling every single customer from the previous day, thanking them for using us. And I'm not asking for anything else. I actually don't even ask for a review, but I let them know in case you didn't see, we did text you just asking for a Google review, but ultimately I'm calling like, how was your service? We're grateful that you hired us. How was everything? What was your experience like? I'm genuinely asking for real feedback. And in this industry specifically, that type of service I think is unheard of. You don't really get a lot of that in the blue collar space in general, and it's so appreciated. And if you go through and read some of our reviews, that's some of the things that people rave about. It's like, oh, Dave actually called me the day after my service to make sure we were happy. And it's been a game changer for us.
Yeah, that personal touch is huge, especially if you're not in the truck. I think reaching out yourself just shows a ton of initiative and just that you care. And like you said, especially in this industry, not to be condescending to either of us, but like a lower skill trade that like doesn't take trade school to figure out how to do. I think it's just full of a bunch of people that will go knock doors, do subpar quality, and then avoid follow up or
100%.
avoid even going out for touch ups or something like that. There's an example that I could bring up in my local market where it's like, if you look at their reviews, it talks a lot about how they never learned how to take screens out properly. And so they're like breaking screens, which like might happen every now and then. That's when it's really important to have those follow-up systems and make sure that you're taking accountability for that, and not like how some of these reviews will say, hang up when the client calls you back. Obviously, that's probably the worst case scenario, but that's really cool, man. So you're out of the truck. How many employees are you running right now?
So I have two techs. Currently they work together. So we have two trucks total. One is mine. That's the one I do estimates in. Then their truck. They're in a 2019 F-150. Got
Cool.
a ladder rack on it. So all that stuff. But they currently work together. I'm in the phase though of I think come spring, I want to try breaking them up and hire two other techs and have four techs that work individually, not any of them together. I've talked to several other, window cleaners that are several years ahead of where I'm at. And that's what a lot of them do. And they usually don't have two-man crews. They have one-man crews. And it's
Hmm.
something that I want to try it. What about you? Have you ever thought about that or talked to anybody about that topic?
Uh, no, I haven't heard of like one man crews being optimal. I haven't heard of it not being the
Mm,
case, and I've definitely done plenty of solo work myself. I do have a contention with going beyond that sometimes. Like there are like I have my brother helps me out on basically he works for me full time, and then we have one other guy that helps us on occasion. And I think that I do think it's the case that there's a downside the opposite way, like when you have too many techs on a job,
yeah.
like three people at your house, four people at your house cleaning windows. It's it's kind of a lot, especially when you're there to like not that you it's not the case that if you're a trustworthy business that the clients have to keep track of you, but I do feel like there's that feeling still where it's like, okay, where is everybody? So it's always felt to me like two-man crews is optimal, mainly just for I don't know. I guess the teamwork aspect, there's definitely something to say about having another team member there to suffer with on occasion when the job is a suck fest.
For sure.
But yeah, I'll definitely be picking your brain in the next year or two if you end up going that route on how one man crews are performing for you.
In my brain, two-man crews still seem like the most ideal
Mhm.
scenario. One-man crews in my head, I'm like, I don't know. Also, I think it depends on your market. There's a lot of homes that we do in the Nashville area, Middle Tennessee area, that are quite prestigious homes. And when you I mean, I estimated and sold a job today it's called Governor's Club. It's in Brentwood, Tennessee. I think literally it's the wealthiest county in the country.
Mhm.
It was in the Governor's Club, which is literally where the governor of Tennessee lives.
Mhm.
It was a $4.5 million home. An insane amount of windows, all French panes, no less.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was 980 French, like individual French panes, and they want inside and out done. And in my mind, I'm like, well, there's no way he'll be there for 4 days, you know?
Yeah.
And there are several homes that we do like that on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
I think it might be job based. It might be the types of homes that you're doing, what the market's like.
Yeah, we have a job. It's not quite that at that scale, but it's a client we did 6 months ago, at the butt end of spring, and it's 600 feet of gutters and a large home and an ADU. And my
Mm,
brother and I did that together, like, yeah, 5 6 months ago. And I mean, we started at 8:30 9 a.m. and we were there until probably like 4. So there's no way. I mean, that would be a 2 day job, or it's either a 2 day job or a 2 man job. Um,
yeah.
and I think the latter probably shows a little bit more professionalism and just feels smoother. So yeah, that's an interesting problem. It definitely is market dependent. Like if you're in a really suburban area where there's very few houses that are over, 2,800 square feet,
Yeah.
then rock and roll. But yeah. So you said you have a truck for yourself. So are you doing in-person estimates for 100% of your jobs?
I would say 95%.
Okay. Yeah.
There are scenarios where if it's right now, we service a really large radius. And I don't think it's gonna stay that way forever, especially as we continue to scale in Clarksville, which is our main market. Nashville, just for people who don't know exactly where that is geographically, Nashville is about an hour, hour and 5 minutes from us.
Okay.
And then anything south of Nashville, Brentwood and Franklin, which we love doing houses out there because the houses are massive. So it's worth driving an hour and 20 minutes to those jobs. But uh I think eventually we're going to have to dial it back and just stay in Clarksville unless we open up another like branch, so to speak, in the Nashville south of that area. Clarksville is very average. I think the average household income is probably in the 50s, 50, 60K a year, somewhere in that range. And then anything in Nashville and south of Nashville, you're looking at like 8K plus average household income. So the wealth out there is just a dramatic difference, but the jobs right now are worth going to. I actually forgot. What did you just ask me? Did I ramble there?
No, we were talking about doing in-person estimates, which
Mm,
I think in a roundabout way
it's
you
hard.
answered.
Yes. In other words, it's
Yeah.
hard to go out. It's just some of them are just hard to get to. If it's an hour and a half
Yeah.
away and I can see it very clearly on Google Earth, I can get a good idea and get a really accurate estimate off of that. But if I do have the time though, in general, I will go out there like I did today. I drove an hour and 20 minutes to go do an estimate, but I sold the job and it was a $2,800 window cleaning job.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah, not bad, man. Yeah, we have a similar. I mean, we live in a less populated area where we're at, but we have a similar thing. Like we live in a small town in our general market, but we go out to, a market. It's called Granite Bay. And we also go up to Truckee and Tahoe every now and then.
Mm,
Tahoe is like from us, it's like an hour, 10 minutes, and it's uphill quite a bit. You have to scale Donner Summit via Highway 80 to get there. But all the houses out there, I mean, yeah, we had an estimate on a new construction house that's still listed, I'm sure, for 28,500,000 right on the lakefront. Huge house. Yeah. that was a cool one. But like obviously that's worth the drive if you land the contract. So yeah, we have a
We
similar situation.
I did an estimate last week, and it was the furthest I've ever gone. And it was because we got a phone call from the Jim Beam Convention Center.
Oh wow.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
And they had a window cleaner that did the windows, a company that did the windows there for several years. They closed down, and it was like I think they said their last window cleaner charged them 18K every time they did the windows
Wow.
inside and out.
Wow.
And what they called, and they're like, "Hey, we don't have anyone else to call. There's no one else in the area. The company shut down. And would you be willing to come out here?" And I drove 3 hours to go one way to go do that estimate. And I'm kind of confident. I think we're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously that's worth it. And you'll have to I'm
You know,
sure
put
you'll
the,
get
put the,
a decent.
well,
Yeah,
going to take a couple
exactly.
days. So
What's your marketing approach? Like how are you landing all of these jobs? Like you're pretty early on still into, you're just over well, a little over a year and 6 months, like yeah,
yeah.
18 months, something like that into it. Most people don't see this kind of growth trajectory. What are you approaching primarily as far as marketing channels are concerned?
Yeah, it's a great question. Facebook is probably my number one. And some people might hear that and be like, I've tried Facebook and I got nothing. I burned through my ad dollars, or I hired an agency that ran my ads for me and I got nothing. And they promised me I'd get X amount of leads and high ROI. And, I, over the years of being in marketing, I learned a strategy of running Facebook ads that I know just works, and it's worked in every single agency I've ever, or every single type of business that I've run ads for, and that goes for from window cleaning to chiropractors to dentists. I've worked in all of these different areas of business in marketing, and the methodology that I use, I literally build them the same way. It's obviously just different content and different offers, and I teach people now even how to do that themselves, because I think business owners need to learn how to run their own marketing. No one knows their business better than they do. And if they can do that in house, it saves them money and their ads are going to just perform better. They just will, because you care more about your business than an agency cares about your business. Uh, Facebook is huge. We probably do during the busy months. I always like to be very clear there. During the busy months, we're doing 15 to 20K in revenue just from Facebook ads, and
Hmm.
that's with an ad spend budget of around $3,000 a month.
Wow.
So
Cool.
I don't know about you, but I'd give someone $3,000 every day if they give me 20,000 back.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, or if you had a machine that gave you $5 for every dollar you put in, you'd
Yeah,
you'd stand there all day.
yeah. So that's a really big one. I think the other one, especially as it pertains to commercial work, a lot of window cleaners are asking, how do I get big commercial jobs? Not even just storefronts, but big commercial jobs. And I think a really strong Google business profile is really key. And you have to start that early on, because that takes time to begin to build kind of credibility with Google, and so that your business profile begins to rank and shoot up at the top. And then number three is Google Ads. They're expensive, and that's the only thing that I do outsource as far as marketing goes. I know how to run Google Ads. I would say on a scale of like 1 to 10, my knowledge is like a 6, but I want someone who's at a 10 to run
Yeah.
them, because they're so much more complex than Meta. With Meta, it's like you hit these buttons the way I tell you to, and it's going to work every time. And with Google, that's not the case. There's a lot more nitty gritty, as far as metrics go, and different things that you need to do to make those perform. And they're also more expensive, so you have to have the ad budget for it too. And I think on that topic, in and of itself, a lot of people will say, like, I've tried to run Facebook ads, I've tried to run Google ads, and I got nothing. Like, I just burned through my dollars. And one of the things that I think is really important to note is you can do a lot of the right things as far as marketing goes for your business, but if you don't do enough of it, it's not going to work. In other words, if I was spending $300 a month on Facebook ads, I would get 0 leads.
Hmm.
And then I would think, oh, Facebook doesn't work. But really, it's like, no, you just got to spend a couple thousand. And then when you do, it works. So it's just very important. The same thing goes with people who door hangers. We do those as well. or mailers. So like, oh, I did a 500 door hangers. I'm like, dude, you got to do 10K in a week in order to get a good response, right? So
Right.
just always keeping that in mind that you can do all the right things, but if you don't do enough of it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's definitely a numbers game. And yeah, it's interesting. Like the door hanger analogy is interesting because you can just assume a baseline response rate on, you know, per 100 door hangers, for example. Um, the likelihood that you're gonna get that response rate in the first 100 that you do is, I guess, as probable as any other 100, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so it's like same thing with Facebook ads or mailers or whatever it is that you're doing. It's like you need to put in enough reps where the average response rate on the next 100 impressions is going to over time approximate what you would estimate. But that doesn't mean that
Hun-
the next 100 you're going to get that return. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned the automated review process that you built out. It sounds like, are you still running on your Go High Level CRM, or have you outsourced that now?
I'm not. No. So I'm not using Go High Level anymore. Now I use House Call Pro.
Cool.
Um, Go High Level is great. I kind of compare, um, if I compare Go High Level is like your Android phone, House Call Pro is your iPhone.
Understood. Yeah,
So
more
one
more
is,
customizable, less polished.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and Go High Level is an amazing tool. It's incredibly powerful. You can do far more than you could ever do in House Call Pro. But once I started getting a team and it was more than just me, I had to have something that was simplified and
Yeah.
not confusing and a good interface that's easy to understand. It's clear for the techs. I also know that eventually I'm not going to be the guy taking phone calls and scheduling. So when I hire somebody and I have to train them to take my place, I don't want it to take 3 months to teach them how to do those things. I want it to take like a month.
Right.
And that's why I went with something like House Call Pro. It's just simple. It does what it does, and it's not customizable at all. How it is designed is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Whereas with Go High Level, you can alter and change literally everything.
Cool. On the note of making sure that your business processes are streamlined, first off defined, created, and then streamlined, what else operationally are you focusing on right now, or have you focused on to make your business more efficient?
The way my guys work together. So I will say
Okay.
having a two-man crew is great, but I spent a substantial amount of time with them because they could both became great window cleaners pretty quickly, but they weren't instinctively good at when they showed up at a job, like who's going to do what. Like there was too much time discussing, like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then like, are you going to go do that? And then at the end, they're like, oh, did you do that? Because I was supposed to do that. And, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it just strips away from efficiency. So, SOPs. I created an SOP that they each have, and they each have their own individual task and role that is repeated at every single job.
Hmm.
My main guy, Alex, does not do what Steven does, and Steven does not do what Alex does. And it is all written out step by step, who does what, in what order. And eventually, now when they go to a job site, if I was a fly on the wall, they roll up, they get out of the truck, and they both go at it. They know what to do. There's no questions. There's no discussing on who does what or did I miss this? Did you miss this? And that alone has been a game changer because it went from them doing on average like 2 jobs a day to now almost 4.
Okay. Cool. How is that? Where is that? Is that like a skill split or like a technical, like which windows are actually getting cleaned by who split? How are you determining that split between your
It actually
employees?
really wasn't a. It has nothing to do with skill. It was just about creating a system and a process for them to follow.
Okay.
And that just naturally brought more efficiency. And I think at least what I've seen in the businesses that I've seen that are the most successful, that are, 1 million plus per year or 5 million plus per year, it's not like they get better at what they do, but they have really, really strict systems and processes in place for everybody. And it seems like that is the step to scaling, is having everything, every job is documented on what the role is and how to do it. And I know that when I go to hire my next two window cleaners come spring of 2026, I'll be able to bust out these SOPs and obviously I'm going to do some hands-on training with those individuals,
Yeah.
but they're going to have laminated documents in their truck that literally walk them through step by step from you showed up at the house, cool. Click start in the House Call Pro app and then go knock on the customer's door and introduce yourself. Like every step is documented. So that way, no one's walking around just doing their own thing and every customer gets treated differently because Glass Therapy did a bad job at creating a process for how we treat people and how we serve them.
In your business, like we've talked a lot about what has worked over the last 18 months or so. Is there like what are some examples of things that you thought would work really well, like systems that you tried out and then ended up abandoning? Like what's make yourself look a little human here.
Yeah.
What have you tried that hasn't worked for you?
Billboards.
Ah, for real?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I'll start with the marketing side. I have had two billboards. I have one up currently. And the first one was an experiment. I'd never done it before. I never even advised when I was a marketing agent, I never advised people to even do them because I didn't know anything about them. And in my brain, I'm always just like, we'd all drive by them every day. We see hundreds of billboards. And, I've still always thought, like, do people pay? Is this a thing? Like, if you put a billboard up, you're going to get more phone calls? Is it just creating brand awareness so that your
Hmm.
brand is recognizable and people start to remember it? It might not bring you this instant ROI, which it doesn't. Yeah, I spent a few $1,000s on billboards, and to this point, I don't know if I wasted my money or not. I have one up still. In my area, they're not that expensive. I spend about $550 a month on my billboard, and it feels cool to drive by. But I don't know. I don't know if it's doing anything for me other than stroking my ego when I drive by my own
Yeah.
billboard. I'm like, that looks so cool, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's probably some like I don't know, you may agree with this. It sounds like maybe you do that it's like way more of a brand awareness thing than anything else. Like we live
Yeah.
on the Highway 80 corridor. And so if you drive from, and we're like 3.5 hours, 4 hours from the Bay Area. If you drive down to the Bay Area on Highway 80, you see the same billboard like I don't know, probably half a dozen or more times. I think something like that where you have, hundreds of thousands of people a day driving by, in on their commute, maybe 1 to 3 of the exact same billboard every single day when they need that. I'm thinking of a lawyer right now, like when they need that attorney, they kind of just like have that imprinted in their brain. I don't think, I mean, on one hand, I don't, I hope that people aren't like, you know, calling up the number right from their car to like be a lead for that. So I do think there's like a decrease in that direct ROI that I think what a lot of like window cleaning or cleaning businesses in general are trying to get. Like you pick up the postcard and you make a call because there's a call to action and you go for it. I don't know if that's the case with billboards.
Yeah, and I don't either. I think in general, if anything, it might build brand trust
Mm,
because I would
yeah.
in my brain, it's larger. I don't see any small, like really small companies that have billboards, right? So
Right.
maybe when people start seeing your Facebook ads and then they might see you on Google or they might see some of your organic posts and then it's like, oh wow, they're driving and now they're seeing your billboard. It's a collection of all of those visuals that I think add up over time
Mm,
where now in that person's brain, when they need window cleaning, they might be like, oh yeah, I see a lot of this Glass Therapy stuff all the time, like on my phone, and I've seen them when I'm driving to work. I'm going to give them a call.
yeah.
So there definitely wasn't this big influx in phone calls when I put my billboard up.
Totally.
So
Cool.
I think I'll keep it up for a little while. It's not that expensive, but that
Yeah.
is one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if that was a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I'd love to hear what your what revenue numbers you're expecting to hit by the end of 2025. We got about a month and a half left, and if you're making any projections into 26, like what you're kind of spitballing at this point.
Yeah. So I think that we will be just under 300. So I'm thinking about 270, maybe 275 for the year.
275 with two techs. How much of this year did you work? Were you out of the truck all year?
since, yeah, January. I haven't worked since January.
Sweet. Wow.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
I mean, they're killing it. But I will say our average job here is high. That's the thing. So average job so far, I'll just give you a real number. Average job this year.
Hey, Editor Colby here. We had a brief issue with Dave's audio. His average ticket size for 2025 was $662.
Okay. Cool.
So
Wow.
our average job is higher than I think not a lot of other people, but I've coached a lot of different window cleaners too with Facebook ads. And I would probably say the average that I hear is around 300.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, my average
Yeah.
job is like 300, maybe 320, somewhere on there. And we've been blessed with some really large commercial. That's also set us apart a bit.
Yeah. One of my last questions here is your biggest wins and losses. I mean, we'll call the
Yeah.
billboard your biggest loss, unless you can think of a bigger one. But yeah, what kind of commercial jobs have you landed? I think that's one thing that I've kind of just always stuck to residential. I've never been super interested in doing high rise stuff. I don't know if you're getting into that realm. So yeah, so no. Yeah, that's like office buildings, yeah,
No
hotels,
thanks.
stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to dangle from ropes.
Yeah, for sure. Me either. Yeah, ropes
Yeah.
can break.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, no
good.
thanks. Yeah, so
But I'll just come out and say, man, what's the biggest ticket that you've gotten from a commercial cleaning job?
13,000.
Sweet. Cool,
Yeah.
man. Right on. How
Yeah,
long did that take to techs?
2.5 days.
Cool. Nice,
Yeah,
man.
so that
Killer.
was one of the things that I started to pick up on that really is high ticket is post construction. Especially for commercial. We do a substantial amount of post construction window cleaning on the residential side as well. And there's a lot of window cleaners. Not all of them really know what they're doing when it comes to post construction. You got to know what kind of glass it is. If it's tempered, you can't use a razor on it. You're going to scrape it. And when it comes to like a lot of prestigious types homes, a lot of those are all tempered glass, and those things get covered in glue. So post construction is really big. But the large commercial job that we did was a post construction clean on a brand new library that was just built here over the summer, and it was all glass. Beautiful building. Windows they went up like 60 feet, but huge panes. So, we had to rent a couple of scissor lifts, and they were, when I say that every inch of all of this glass was covered in glue, it was every inch. And it
Yeah.
was a lot of elbow grease on both sides, inside and out, hand washing, and then kind of following up with the water fed pole afterwards. And it was a substantial amount of
Oh,
work,
wow.
but
So you touched all the glass twice,
yeah,
hand cleaning and then water fed. Yeah,
yeah.
that's smart, but man, yeah. Do you find that new construction is kind of a crapshoot in terms of like whether or not like at least for me, I've had some jobs where I guess it just depends on the builder too, because we've had some jobs that we've been super blessed with that are new construction. We can
Yeah.
charge pretty close to full pop, but they keep all the stickers on the not stickers, but like they keep the protective sealant on the windows until we're there. So it's like peel the protective sealant off, and it's like cleaning a window that's like, I don't know, twice as dirty as your average residential. And then there's ones where they take them off as soon as they're installed, and then all of the finish work happens, and it's like you're spending 15 minutes per pane per side on each one. So is
Yeah,
it kind of a crapshoot for you? Are you pretty good at seeing how bad it's going to be up front before you get the first layer of dust off? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I will say 100% of the time when it's post construction, it's in-person estimates, right? I
Yeah.
need to get my eyes on it. I have to be able to see the inside, the outside. I even get ladders out just to get nice and close to the glass because I really need to see how bad it is.
Yeah.
So a couple things I'll ask builders is what type of glass is it? Is it tempered? I want to know that in advance because that's going to complicate things a whole bunch if they're covered in glue and it's all tempered glass.
Yeah.
I actually prefer the plastic to be left on because at least when that's on and the contractor's sticky hands are all over the place, it's on the plastic and not a majority of the window. And again, I think especially with post construction, there's a lot of extra steps, and having a SOP written out, standard operating procedure for post construction specifically, really matters. And one of the biggest mistakes, actually, I would say that we did some post construction on these. It was 12 homes that were 3 stories tall that were built in Nashville, and they were all right next to each other, literally like 20 feet apart. And my guys went in, we did a great job on all the windows, but my guys left all of the stickers, like hundreds of stickers all over the floors, and
Yeah.
just left them there. All the plastic that came off the windows, they just, and I didn't do a good job and go check their work. I just trusted that they know what they're doing. They got it all done. It was the first post construction job. And I mean, that builder was kind of annoyed. He was pretty ticked off, honestly. He was like, dude, you guys
Yeah.
did a great job on the windows, but I had to go in 12 homes, 3 stories each on every floor and pick up hundreds and hundreds of stickers. And I was like, oh yeah, that's again training, right? Like now now
Yeah.
there's an SOP for this. Like when we take off stickers, we throw them out. So I think they can be a crapshoot without the right systems and tools.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's funny with like your emphasis on SOPs is so important. I think it's super overlooked when you start hiring because especially if you've been a solo operator for a while, you kind of take the things that took you 3 to 6 months to learn and you just assume it's basic knowledge, like pick up the stickers. Anybody that's cleaned more than, 1,000 windows that's listening to this right now rolled their eyes when they heard that because it's like, no kidding, you pick up the stickers, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not as obvious to somebody who's new to it. And it's normal, it's not abnormal to think that it's not unreasonable to leave stickers on the ground when it's a construction zone. Like they're going to be sweeping the area anyway. There's cleaners coming in after them. So I just thought I'd make that note because I've
Yeah,
had several situations like that where it's like, how did you not know this? And it's like, oh, you didn't know it because of me. It's my
for
fault.
sure. Yep.
So yeah, cool, man.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
post construction's great. And then as far as, I guess to answer your question too, a little bit about commercial work, I've gotten almost all of that from Google. And that just kind of points a little bit more emphasis on your Google business profile matters. And
Yeah.
where you rank matters because a lot of those people are not going to see you on Facebook. They're Googling your service, right? So you want to be able to show up. And we actually have the contract for one of the largest hospitals here in Middle Tennessee, and
Nice.
we do the windows there every 6 months. It's all exterior only. It's water fed pole. The whole thing is 4 stories. And we're actually doing that on November 5th again. But it's a $9,000 window cleaning job, and I'll have my 2 guys alongside one other good window cleaning friend of mine who works specifically in Nashville. I contract him; he'll come out for the day, and they'll knock that whole job out in one day.
Sweet. Not bad, man. Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'd love to hear if you have any parting advice to prospective or new cleaning business owners, and then we'll call it. I told you this would be 25 minutes, and we're about to double that. So
It's all good. Yeah, I think final advice is just don't stop learning. Reach out to people that are ahead of you. That's I think the biggest thing that helped me is I wanted to rub elbows with as many people as I could that knew far more than I did in this industry that I could learn from and take notes. And I will say the bigger the people that you reach out to, they're probably not going to give you their time away for free. So if you have the money, I think it's always nice, even if it's a small amount, pay someone for their time when you're getting something of value in return.
cool. Right on, Dave. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.